Okay. We are on 47b. We're finishing up today. We're going to finish up the Succah, with a tremendous amount of discussion about Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret, which Rabbi Yochanan went on record and said that you say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret, and the Gemara was questioning that law, whether he's correct or not. Adam, if you want to send to the group. All right, thank you to Adam. So that's the Gemara's. That's where the Gemara is up to, and the Gemara wanted to prove that the Gemara brought from Rabbi Yehuda. If we look back at the Gemara, that the Gemara brought a Breita from Rabbi Yehuda, and in the Breita, Rabbi Yehuda mentioned that we say a bracha, special bracha, on Shmini Atzeret. Shmini Atzeret is unique and has a bracha. And the question is, what bracha was he referring to when he says you say a bracha on Shmini Atzeret? And the Gemara suggested that the bracha that he's referring to is the bracha of Shehechianu. Then the Gemara said maybe that's not the bracha that he's referring to. Maybe he's referring to the special insert that we say on Shabbat, or I'm sorry, on Shmini Atzeret, it's Chag HaShmini, you would say Shmini Atzeret HaChag HaZeh. Maybe, or in the Birkat HaMazon, special insert that we will say, or in the Tefillah, or in the Yalav Yavo. But maybe not necessarily, the Gemara says, maybe not necessarily would you go ahead and say the bracha of Shechianu. And that was the Gemara's discussion over there. And the Gemara, brought, a Breita that states that Rabbi Yehuda says that you need to stay overnight on Shmini Atzeret, that after you brought the Korban on Shmini Atzeret, you would have to stay overnight in the Yerushalayim. And the Gemara questioned that. And the Gemara wanted to prove that that he does hold, that Rabbi Yehuda holds you will have to stay overnight, because we have a Mishnah that states that Bikurim, you have to go ahead and stay overnight. And the Gemara said, and that Mishnah, now Bikurim, the Gemara says, is very similar to Shmini Atzeret, because Bikurim is a one-day deal, so to speak. You bring your Bikurim, and the Mishnah says you stay overnight. The Gemara wants to say, so too, Rabbi Yehuda would hold that you would stay overnight on Shmini Atzeret, even though it's a one-day deal. It's its own holiday. Shmini Atzeret is a one-day holiday, and you would stay overnight. And the Gemara wanted to prove that by the fact that by the Bikurim, it says that you have to go ahead, and the Mishnah by Bikurim that says you stay overnight, it also says that you have to do Tenufah. That you have to go ahead, and when you wave, as David is showing us, you wave the fruits in all different directions, recognizing the idea is that like you're giving the fruit to Hashem, that you're giving it to Hashem. That's one way to understand that. And who was on record that says you need to wave the Bikurim? That's Rabbi Yehuda. We found he's the man that says you wave the Bikurim, and that same Mishnah says you stay overnight. So the Gemara wanted to say, so therefore he's the man, that rabbi, Rabbi Yehuda, is the one who says you do waving, and you also go ahead and need to stay overnight. And therefore, the Gemara wanted to rest its case that you need to stay overnight. Rabbi Yehuda would hold you need to stay overnight by Shmini Atzeret. And then the Gemara, then we got up to the Gemara that what with Vidilma Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. We're now on 47b2, the bottom column. The Gemara says Vidilma Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. The last three lines. You have it? 47b2. Okay. So again, just a little the concepts here. We're not so it's not an everyday thing about Bikurim, about the first fruits. because we don't have today. We don't have that mitzvah of giving to the Kohen. We're not the first fruits because we don't have the Beit HaMikdash to bring the first fruits to. The Dilma Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakovi. The Gemara wants to say maybe the author of that Mishnah that states that you need to stay overnight by Shmini Atzeret, and you need to waive the and the mission that says that Shmini Atzeret you have to stay overnight. That Mishnah is maybe it's Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Why? Because the Gemara said, and the Mishnah that says again, the Mishnah that says Bikurim, you need to go ahead and stay overnight. Maybe that's Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Why? Because the Gemara says we found the Tanya. We found that Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov holds that you need to waive the Bikurim. So maybe he's the author of that Mishnah that says you stay overnight by Bikurim. But Rabbi Yehuda maybe would disagree and say you would not have to stay overnight. The Gemara says, why? The Tanya, we learned in the Braita. The pasuk says the Kohen takes the basket, right? The Bikurim, the first fruits are brought in a basket. The pasuk says the Kohen takes, and you know the idea of the first fruits is you come to the land of Israel, and you plant the olives, the grapes, the pomegranates, the 7 species that Israel is known for, and the first fruits that grow you bring to the Kohen, and it's a sign of appreciation. It's like, so to speak, you're thanking Hashem, so to speak, for bringing you to the land of Israel and giving you the blessing that you have these beautiful fruits, and these are the best fruits of the land of Israel. In a certain sense, the verse states, the prophet says you bring from all the fruits of the ground of the land, but really it doesn't mean all the fruits. It means all of the 7 species. When it says the kopri adama, it doesn't mean all the fruits, but it means all of the 7 species. It's not that you just bring one of the 7 species, 2 of the 7 species, all 7 the first fruits. And I wanted to say a different idea. I wanted to say that these first fruits, since these are the best fruits of Israel, you take your best to represent all. Just like, when you're supposed in politics, in true politics, you're supposed to have the best people representing the people. The problem is you don't always have the best people in politics representing the people. But ideally, you would want the best to represent. So I wanted to suggest, the question is, why in Israel, why does the Torah say you don't have to, the Torah does not require you to give the first fruits from your apples, from your oranges, or your peaches in Israel? Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning. So the question is, why the Torah only requires to give the first fruits from the 7? So I would like to suggest, because the 7 fruits of Israel is known for are the best, and you give the best to represent all of them. And maybe that's perhaps the idea. You're not just giving thanks to Hashem for just only having the olives, the grapes, and the pomegranates, and the dates, and the figs, so to speak. You also want to give thanks for everything. But by giving the best, in a certain sense, how do you like that idea, David? Maybe they are representing all of the fruit, other fruit as well. Now, and it's like there's an idea when you bring a korban like Hevel brought the korban from the best fruits, the best animal, the best fatty, not from the inferior quality. So the Gemara says, we find Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, he said, "V'lokach hakohen hatenem yadecha." The pasuk says that the Kohen takes the basket from the hand of the one who brought the first fruits. Limeid ala bikurim shetu'unin tnufa. This verse, even though the pasuk does not state openly that you have to wave the fruits in all directions, but he learns out from this pasuk by the fact that the pasuk says the Kohen takes the basket from your hands. That teaches us waving. Where do we see by the fact that the pasuk says the Kohen takes it? Our in-house Kohen, Mr. David Cohen, takes the fruits, where does it say that there is a requirement of waving? So the Gemara asked that question. My time with Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Where does he see this from the fact that the pasuk said you take the basket? Maybe you just take the basket. Who says you have to go ahead and wave the fruits in all directions? So the Gemara says there's something called the Gzeira Shaveh. When the Torah writes a word in two different places, a same word, two different subjects. So sometimes by writing the same word, the Torah used the same word because the Torah wants to teach us a lesson that what applies over there applies here as well. Now you only know that through a tradition that Hashem told Moshe at Sinai. When Moshe was at Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights, Hashem was telling him, he taught him all the laws, and this would be something that you pass down from generation to generation of halacha Moshe Sinai. And it's atya yad mishlamim. But by the carbon shlamim, by the peace offering that you bring when you bring a shlamim, a carbon shlamim. Shlamim is a type of offering that everybody gets a part of. The Kohen gets a piece, the owner who brings the animal gets a piece of it, and some of it is burnt on the altar. In contrast to some offerings, like a sin offering, only the Kohen will eat from it. The Yisrael, the owner, does not eat. There's certain things that Yisrael will not eat, certain things that Yisrael does eat from, and this is called kachim kalim. The fact that this is a lighter, a holy karban, the shlamim, and it says over there by the shlamim, it says that there is a waving of some of the parts of the animal have to be waved. And over there by shlamim, it uses the tzivha. It says tzivhatam. Yadav Tiviena et Ishe Hashem. The pasuk says he brings the Ishe Hashem, meaning he brings the korban as a chelev, and the pasuk says over there that there is the waving of the shlamim. So when it comes to shlamim, the pasuk says that you go ahead and you have to wave the shlamim. And makan, and over there, so makan kohen. Now the question is, when it says by the shlamim, it says makan by the bikurim. By the bikurim, it says who takes the lokach kohen hatenem miyadecha. By the bikurim, when it says the word yad, when it says the word hand, the kohen takes the basket from your hand. So just like over here, it's referring to the kohen. It says the word kohen. The kohen takes it when it comes to the hand, refers to the kohen. Af lahalan. So when it says the word yad, when it says the word the hand, yadav to Vienna, when the pasuk says the hand is used, it's going to be used for the purpose of waving. The wave that's referring also to the kohen. So when when the pasuk says that there's a waving, it also refers to the kohen waving the karban shlamim. So, meaning the pasuk, when the pasuk talks by the shlamim, the verse is talking about the context of the verse is talking about the owner bringing the shlamim. Yet, how do we know the kohen has to also be involved in the waving? Because of this gzeira shaveh. By the fact that it says yad, the fact that it says hand by the bikurim, and it says the word yad by the waving of the shlamim. So it teaches us the shlamim also has to be waved by the kohen. And then the Gemara says, malahalan balim, just like the waving by the shlamim, the pasuk says openly that the owner has to be involved in the waving of the shlamim. To afkan, so too over here, balim. Here too, the owner, when it comes to the bikurim, the owner has to be involved in the waving. So what we have here is, we have a gzeira shaveh that's teaching us that both the kohen, both the owner who brings the first fruits, both the Kohen and both the owner have to be involved in the waving by the shlamim, by the peace offering. So now the question is, how is it done? How we have two people with and how do you wave? How do two people do it? So the Gemara understands it's not that they do it separately. So the Gemara says, "Haketzad Kohen meniach yado tachat yad bailim umenes." The Kohen puts his hand underneath the hand of the owner, but Rashi points out it's not directly under the hand of the owner, because if it be directly the hand of the owner, then the hand of the owner will act as a chatzitza, as an interruption between the hand of the Kohen and the basket. Rather, the owner would hold the rim of the basket, and the Kohen put his hand under the basket, and that's how they would do the waving. They would do the waving. So they figured out how you could get both of them together, working together, the Kohen and the owner, to do the waving of the Bikurim, and similarly waving of the Shlamim. And now, so the Gemara says, so we see that we have on record that there's another rabbi that requires the waving of the Bikurim, which is Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. So maybe he who requires the waving of the first fruits, maybe he's also the author of that Mishnah that says you have to stay overnight. When you bring the first fruits to the Kohen, to the Beit HaMikdash, and the Mishnah states you stay overnight, the Mishnah says you have to wave it, the Mishnah, maybe that all, and you have to sing, there have to be a special, the Levium have to sing a special song, and you have to bring a special korban. Maybe that's Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. But maybe Rabbi Yehuda would not require you to go ahead and perhaps stay overnight. And therefore, if he would not hold, so that's the Gemara's point. Maybe Rabbi Yehuda would hold you won't have to stay overnight when it comes to Shmini Atzeret. Okay, so that ends that point of whether Rabbi Yehuda holds you stay overnight when you bring on Shmini Atzeret, when you bring the korban of Shmini Atzeret. The Gemara ends off. It's not clear if Rabbi Yehuda would keep to that idea that you stay overnight, or maybe Rabbi Yehuda changed his mind, or maybe he holds that you will not stay overnight when you bring the korban on Shmini Atzeret. Okay, but at the end of the day, we do not have a conclusion. Do we say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret, which was the original question, which Rabbi Yochanan said you do say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret, and that's what we do in practice. But the Gemara questioned his opinion, and now the Gemara wants to know what is the law. Ma havi Allah. What is the bottom? We're now on the bottom of 47b2. Ma havi Allah. What is the bottom line law? Do we go ahead and say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret, or we do not say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret? Rav Nachman Amar. So Rav Nachman says, Umrim Zman b'Shmini Shachar. He says you would say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret. It's not, even though Shmini Atzeret follows right after Sukkot, it's not that one Shechianu on Sukkot covers it all. It's not, you would have to say a separate Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret. Rav Sheshet Omar, Rav Sheshet says no. Ein omrim zman b'Shmini Shachar. Rav Sheshet says you do not say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret. Then the Gemara says, okay, we have the two rabbis arguing. So what is the practice? What is the law? The Hilchata omrim zman b'Shmini Shachar. And the Gemara says the halacha is the law follows the opinion of Rav Nachman, and you say Shechianu on Shmini Atzeret. And then the Gemara also proves in a Braita that Rav Nachman's opinion is correct. Tanya Kavotei Rav Nachman. We have in a Braita, which is an early statement, a halachic statement, early text. Shmini. Now we're on 48a. Shmini regel b'fnei atzmo. Shmini Atzeret has the status where 48 A1, on the top of the page. Shmini Atzeret has a status of a new holiday. Welcome, Mark. It's a status of a new holiday. Regarding which laws is it considered new? There are 6 laws, 6 special laws that we look at Shmini Atzeret as its own holiday. The Inyan Pazar Keshav. Pazar Keshav is it's an acronym. It's a mnemonic to be able to remember, to remember the 6 cases, the 6 laws. They mention one letter from each of the laws, and that's why the pay stands for payas. Payas is a lottery. They would draw lots. If you in the Beit Hamikdash, they drew a lot on Shmini Atzeret, who was going to be which group, which Kohanim, which family is going to win to have the merit of bringing the korban on Shmini Atzeret. If you look at the Rashi, the top, what do you say? We're going to get there. We're not yet. Not yet. If you look at Payas B'fnei Atzmo, you see the top Rashi, top line, in the right corner, top line. Payas B'fnei Atzmo. B'shebechol Parei Achag, all the bulls of the holiday of Sukkot, there were 70 bulls that we brought on Sukkot. Every day, we were bringing, 13, 12. It went down every day. It went down 10, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. But if you have 70 bulls, and there were 24 families of Kohanim. The Kohanim were broken up into 24 main families. Like if you say in the Sephardi community, certain families, certain amount of families that most of the community maybe, let's say, comes from. Maybe that's true or not true, but a large amount of the community, right? Okay, so you have the concept that the way the Kohanim, there were 24 families. They all started from one family called Aaron HaKohen, but they were broken up. Good morning, Michael. They were broken into 24 groups of 24 families, and every family, right, Michael. Every family was on duty 1 week. 1 week this family, next week the next family. So each family worked about 2 weeks total in the Beit HaMikdash. And because if you do 24 weeks, you're on 1 week at a time. And obviously the rest of the time the Kohanim were teaching Torah. They were involved in other community service. But on the holidays, all the Kohanim were on duty on the holidays. And so now we have to bring, the Torah says you have to bring a certain amount of animals on the holiday. So which Kohen, so when it comes to the, which family gets it, so you didn't need to make a lottery to figure out who brings the bulls, because if you have 24 families and you have 70 bulls, so you have a lot of, it's very easy to this family will bring, if the first, you'll have a question is which one will go first. But let's say if we have 13 bulls the first day, let's say if we have 13 bulls the first day of the holiday, so you'll have this, one bull will be bought by this family. If 13 families will be on the first day, the next day you have 12 bulls. Let's say, so it's easy to, the next certain amount of families will be on 11 families. You got 24 families, and now we started again. So that's how they did not. That's how they did it when it comes to the bulls. Now, but when it comes to right. So Rashi says if you'll divide it up, everybody would get. There'll be 2 families that will not get to do it a third time, right? Let's so but most families did it, got 3 times on the deal. And the bull on, everybody wants to do it. Everybody, right? Everybody wants. If they added, everybody wants to do. Everybody wants the merit of bringing the korban. That's the attitude. Right, right. So people should have the attitude. They want to do the service of Hashem. They're looking to do. Kohanim are looking. Mr. David Cohen wants to do the service. He doesn't want to say take off. Doesn't want to say let the other guy do it. I want to do it. I want the mitzvah. So, but on Shmini Atzeret, they did not just continue the rotation. Who's next? The next family. Shmini Atzeret became its own holiday. You have to make your own lottery. Now we have to make a lottery. Who's going to get that animal, that par that has to be brought on Shmini Atzeret? Who's going to be the winner to do that par? That's going to be that will have to have a lottery, because that is the uniqueness. It's different. It's not part of the holiday of Sukkot. If it would be part of the holiday of Sukkot, then you would just continue in the morning in the rotation. But the fact that it's not part of the holiday of Sukkot, you're going to make a lottery for it. So that indicates, regarding that aspect, we see that it's its own holiday. That's what the Gemara said. And by the way, in the way the commentary says that every mishma, during the holiday Sukkot, every family had the zchut, the merit to bring the korban. Like we're saying, they understood bringing the korban is a merit. It's a great thing to be involved in community service and getting that merit. Everybody wants that merit. Okay. Now, the Chafetz Chaim says how foolish people are. People look at their watch. When is Shabbat over? Shabbat is called the Mikah HaBracha. Shabbat is a source of blessing. Why are you running away? This is something you're running away. How much time is left, right, Adam? You ever see people? I know, hopefully you never see such people that do this. They're looking, when is Shabbat over? When is Shabbat over? What do you mean? People are running away. The Chafetz Chaim says from holiness. What are you doing? You have greatness. It's holiness. It's greatness. It's blessing, and you're running away from it. Okay, so it's a mistake. It's a mistake when it's over. The feeling should be you're getting. You want to hold on to it. And right, and it's really, in a certain sense, we see Hashem's attitude. Good morning, Aaron. What's one of the famous Chazal about Shmini Atzeret? Why we have Hashem wants us to stay longer. That's what Hashem wants. God said he had a 7 day. He said one more day. Simchat Torah is part of it's connected. Yeah, it's part of Shmini Atzeret. One more day. But in Israel, Simchat Torah. In Israel, everything is one day. Shmini Atzeret is Simchat Torah. Good morning, Mr. Amos. It's good to see Mr. Amos. It's Sadiq Balair. Yeah. Shmini Atzeret. Yes, we call it Shmini Atzeret. It is Shmini Atzeret. We pray Shmini Atzeret. Exactly. Yes. It's 2 days. But just like we say Shechianu both days of the holiday, the first 2 days, we'll say both days because it's Shmini Atzeret. We'll say Shechianu both days. Okay, good to see you, Mr. Amos. So the Gemara says, Zman b'fnei atzmo. The second one of the uniqueness of the Shmini Atzeret, this is what Mark was referring to, Zman b'fnei atzmo. Its own time, its own bracha. Shechianu is referred to in the Gemara's language as the Zman, time. Because Shechianu is Shechianu v'kimanu v'kiyanu l'hazman hazeh. So that's why it's referred to Zion. The Zion refers to, right, Michael? The Zion refers to Shechianu. Say that again. Place and time. Shechianu v'kimanu v'kiyanu. You brought us l'hazman hazeh, to this time, to this time period that we're in. There's Bayom Mahim Bazman hazeh, that the different bracha Shasa Nislam was saying Bayom Mahim. He did a miracle in those days at this time. That's the different bracha Sanisa. But Shechianu, morning, it's not about the place. Shechianu is that we came to this time period. We came to this time period of the holiday of Sukkot or the holiday of Shmini Atzeret. It's about, but there is a bracha, by the way. If a miracle happened to a person at a specific place, you say a miracle happened at this particular place. You know, one of my father-in-law, Rabbi London of blessed memory, one of his famous students was Rabbi Dov Walowitz. I don't know if you know the name. He just passed away. They got it from Shiva today. Today they got it from Shiva. He was. You'll read about him in the news. So look at Rabbi Dov Walowitz. He was in his 80s. He was a big man from the 5 towns. He was a very big Baal Tzedakah, and he was a very big activist helping poor families, especially widows and divorcees. He had 150 families on his payroll, or raising money for 150 families. I think he was up to every month, taking care of 150. It's a lot of money, 150 families a month. And Rabbi Walowitz was a counselor in Rabbi London's camp. Rabbi London, my father, had a camp in the 1950s called Machane Torah. And Rabbi Walowitz was a counselor. And he was an unbelievable, dynamic personality, that he would be the one to encourage the students to go from the camp to the yeshiva. My father had a camp, and that's how he did the recruitment for his yeshiva, called Heichal Torah. And so there was Rabbi London has a different student, who lives in Lakewood, New Jersey. His name is Rabbi Mueller. Rabbi Mueller came from Detroit, Toledo, Ohio. And Rabbi Mueller was going to be going to a public school and so on. It was going to public school. Rabbi London did a cross-country trip in 1952. I went to Toledo. They said Rabbi London was here in 1952. He was a young man then. And somehow he got this kid, this Rabbi Mueller's, now Rabbi Mueller, we'll call him Mr. Mueller, whatever his first, Jack. His name is Jack Mueller. He got Jack to be willing to parent. He was the only child, and the parents were willing to send him to the camp. No, so you're going to get to the man in a second. So Jack comes to the camp. Now, at the end of the summer, the question is the kid going to go to the yeshiva? So Rabbi Walowitz, who just passed away, he was the man whose job was to encourage the students, the campers, to go to yeshiva. So he takes Jack for a walk. This was in Mountaindale. The camp was in Mountaindale. He takes Jack for a walk on a certain hill, and he would do the walk with him. And at that walk, he was working trying to get him, and he got him. And he got him to what Rabbi Mueller he knew how to talk. He was a wheeler and dealer, and he knew how to do negotiations. He was very good in that. And he got this Jack to go ahead and to agree to go to yeshiva. And as a result of that, Jack went to yeshiva, he became religious, and he has a beautiful family today and grandchildren. Unbelievable. Rabbi Jack. Jack Mueller every year takes his grandchildren. For many years, he takes his children to that hill in Mountaindale. That place where Rabbi Walowitz, who passed away, who convinced him to go to yeshiva, and he would make a bracha every year, that a miracle, I'm getting the chills as I say the story, that a miracle happened to me in this place, that I agreed to go to yeshiva, and that changed my life. It's interesting, you bring in this place and something, and that's about. Now, whether I agree that you should say a bracha with the name Hashem or not on that place, that's a halachic question. I'm not saying whether yes, whether no. Maybe he asked the question, maybe whatever. Everyone's talked to their rabbi. But the idea is that he remembers. You know, some people forget, but he remembers. And every year he takes his children, grandchildren. That's a yearly trip. He doesn't take it for granted. We should not take it for granted. The community, the Syrian community, the Sephardi community should not take it for granted where they are today. They shouldn't. They should remember how much they've grown and how much where they're at, right, Michael? And how far they've come, and they should appreciate and realize the greatness and Okay, that was just a thought. Now, the interesting story. And then now he got up today, Rabbi. Well, I want you to look him up. I'm giving homework to the whole class. This is the homework. People look online, right? If you look online, you might as well look this up. Look online. I want you to look up Dov Wallowitz. Look about Dov Wallowitz. I want everyone. He was a great man, and he's someone to learn from. And you'll see. And maybe I'll ask David. I asked Mr. Batesh to send to the group if he sees anything online about him, right? You see anything? Could be. I don't know if I'm spelling the name right. You found something? Dov Wallowitz? Okay. You know what? I will send. I will get it. I'll have someone to send it to. I'll ask Adam to send it to the group. We'll do our research on Rabbi Dov Wallowitz because it's in the news in the Jewish world. It's in the news. I just saw one of the papers, the Five Towns papers, had a whole article on him. Okay. So the Gemara continues. Regel, what'd you say? You found it, right? 5 Towns, yeah, that's him. That's so he was a student also by Rabbi London. Rabbi London, my father, if someone would come into the house with a sitting shiva where they just got up this morning, the picture, there's 3 pictures there. The main picture is my father-in-law on the wall, Rabbi London. That's the main picture on the wall for there. There's 2 other pictures, but the eye-level picture is Rabbi London. Okay. Regel b'fnei atzmo. So the other thing is that what's unique about Shmini Atzeret, it's a regel b'fnei atzmo. What does regel b'fnei atzmo mean here? It means you do not sit in the sukkah. In Israel, you sent to the group? Yeah, very good. Thank you. Okay, no problem. But at least we're connected here. That's where it counts. So regel b'fnei atzmo. Morning, David. What does it mean that it's a regel b'fnei atzmo? Regel b'fnei atzmo means that you do not sit in Israel, they do not sit in the sukkah, Shmini Atzeret. It's its own holiday. If it's part of the holiday of Sukkot, they should be sitting in the sukkah. We only do it outside of Israel because there was a time period that we didn't know, is this today day 7 or day 8? But in Israel, where they know the date, where they had no question by the time the holiday of Sukkot, by that time arrived, they already knew when Rosh Chodesh was. So therefore, it's its own holiday. You do not sit in the sukkah. Korban b'fnei atzmo. It has its own unique korban, meaning it's not like all the other days of the holiday. You went, let's say, 13, 12 bulls and so on and so forth, and the amounts of animals went totally different. Total different drop of animals. It's not like Shmini Atzeret should be 6 bulls, but no, it goes all the way down. That it's a total different story. Shira b'fnei atzmo. It has its own unique song. It's not like the 7 days of Sukkot that the song are connected to that talk about the giving of maaser, talking about the giving of tzedakah, but it's its own song. It has its own song when it comes to Shmini Atzeret, and also bracha b'fnei atzmo. In the davening and in the Namid and in the Birkat HaMazon, we don't say Chag HaSukkot hazeh, we say Shmini Atzeret Chag hazeh. You mentioned it's a different story. Okay, I want to wish everyone a beautiful day. Thank you all for being here, and look forward to tomorrow.
Chodesh Tov, Rabbi.
Chodesh Tov to it. Okay, Rosh Chodesh is Wednesday and Thursday, correct, Michael?
Yeah. Tuesday night.
Tomorrow night is Rosh Chodesh.
It's a month of refuah.
We can't. The Sfardim cannot take a. You cannot take a. You do not take a haircut till after till later. You can't. You have time. You can't take a haircut on a Rosh Chodesh. The Sfardim. I can't tell you. But the Sfardim can't take a haircut on a Rosh Chodesh. Right. Okay.
We could take it for Rosh Chodesh, but we're also in half sec with the Omer right now.
Right, because of the Omer, you have the issue. You can't take it now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
All right, Rabbi. Great day.
Great day. You too. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah. Not sure, maybe Philip will then know.